Good afternoon. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC News Break. Barbados is about to step up its efforts to deal with people trying to enter the country illegally or overstay their time. Word of this from Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister, Senator Darcy Boyce, during debate on the Immigration Amendment Bill. He says government has decided to begin capturing, through the Immigration Department, the biometric information of people coming into the island.
Capture their fingerprints, capture their retina scans and so on, and record them digitally, so that we are able to trace somebody who is sent out. If they attempt to re-enter, then we'll be able to pick them up by way of that comparison. If people are supposed to leave the country, we'll be able very easily to find out that they've left, because we'll have the biometric data when they leave the country.
Senator Boyce says every effort will also be made to ensure the information collected is secured, and the governing legislation will contain penalties for anyone who misuses it.
Once that data gets collected and goes onto a computer database, we want to make sure that people do not maliciously go and access that data and use it for nefarious purposes. We want to make sure that it has around it the same level of protection as under the Electronic Transactions Act would obtain.
Barbados could soon have its own fire service training and development academy and its first auxiliary fire officers unit. Acting Chief Fire Officer Errol Maynard revealed these are among projects slated to come on stream. This as he addressed the installation ceremony for retired firefighters into the new Barbados Association of Retired Fire Officers. Mr. Maynard says the Arch Hall Station is already established as a dynamic training and development unit and would soon be upgraded into the academy, catering to local and regional fire and rescue services and the general public. He notes the unit is computerized, offering online courses to local and regional participants. The first cohort graduated last December from Barbados, Dominica and St. Lucia. A change in the present Fire Prevention and Community Relations Unit to the Fire Prevention and Code Enforcement Unit is also on the cards. The acting fire chief has called on retired fire officers to join efforts to reduce the number of fires. A senior member of the University of the West Indies at Cave Hill says financial institutions need to adjust their terms and conditions set on student loans. Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences, Dr. Justin Robinson, says a new funding model has to be developed, making it more flexible for students wanting to study.
I sincerely hope that in the short or near future that we will see a greater convergence between the terms and conditions on student loans that are offered by the revolving fund and those offered by the private financial institutions. If we are to have sustainable access to university education where students have to fund this on their own, it's going to be absolutely essential that the terms and conditions offered by the commercial banks, credit unions, and finance houses converge or become rather more similar to those offered by the revolving fund. And I think that's a crucial development as we attempt to fill out this funding model.
An attempt to form even closer bonds with Barbados through education is one of the intentions of a UK higher education and skills fair dubbed Knowledge is Great. Scheduled for this Saturday at the 3Ws Oval at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus, it's being hosted by the UK Trade and Investment, along with local tertiary institutions like the Barbados Community College, the Barbados Accreditation Council, and Erdiston's Teachers Training College. There are overseas institutions like the Chevening UK Government Scholarships, Middlesex University London and Northumbria University Newcastle, which will be featured. British High Commissioner to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Victoria Dean, says the event is an opportunity for an open conversation on education.
I think it's a great opportunity overall to take some time to think about and talk about the educational links more broadly between the UK and the Eastern Caribbean, Barbados in particular. I think education has always been a very strong link. The people-to-people connections are incredibly important. It's one of the things that struck me when I first arrived here as British High Commissioner, how many people I met and came across who had studied in the UK at school or at higher education, who had held very fond memories of it, or who had a cousin who was studying in the UK, or somebody who wanted to, or who wanted to find out more. And I think it can be a very real and very vibrant part of the way that our two countries relate to one another.
Public workers from Barbados may soon be afforded the opportunity to observe best practices in public administration in Singapore. Barbados expressed an interest during a recent courtesy call by Singapore's ambassador to CARICOM, Kemal Siddiq, on the minister in the Prime Minister's office. Ambassador Siddiq says the Asian country would be happy to facilitate such a visit, which would also give the officers the opportunity to observe the information and communication technologies or ICT processes in his country, particularly in the area of health. He spoke of the importance of a centralized data collection system in allowing countries to be fully prepared to deal with health challenges such as Ebola and chikungunya. Singapore will soon be holding talks with the Caribbean Public Health Agency, or CARPHA, about establishing ICT systems that would allow a regional response to these issues. One local entrepreneur has taken his marketing to the streets, giving Barbadians not only an insight into his various products, but seeing him at work creating them from coral stone blocks. Omar Ward of Rock Hall, St. Thomas was at work sculpting along Highway 2A near the St. Thomas Church. He tells CBC News his efforts at marketing his business, Coral by Hand, have paid off.
The response is awesome, man. The response is just tremendous, great. Sales, mostly that some person will pass or people will pass and they will see the stuff, they will start, they will collect a card, they will call me later and ask me about it, or some of this pieces here, so these people don't see what I could do, so they may order something totally different, because most people want something custom made, right? So anything custom made, I just made.
Ward, who has been sculpting for 16 years, has big dreams for his business. His 9-year-old son, Renil, too, has even taken up the craft. He credits his former boss for some of his successes. Now, this 32-year-old would even consider teaching the art in schools, and he's advising youngsters with a dream to follow their heart.
If you know you got talent, come on. It'll be hard at the first, but at least more and more people get to know you, it's better for you. So you don't expect that you start a business today and get money the same day. It's a process. You have to go through a process. Everybody, almost every business have went through the same process.
This year's Holders Season Festival promises to be an exciting one. The event is in its 22nd year and will see a number of artists and actors showcasing their talents at Holders House. Executive Director of the festival, Stuart Collins, provided some insight into what will be featured during the season, slated to take place from March 7th to 21st.
What we're doing again, as we've done over the number of years, is to sort of try and create different evenings that have a different flavour for different audiences. So we'll have a comedy night, we'll have a jazz night, we'll have a music from around the world night, a theatre night, and again, that's how we're doing it.
It's time for a break now, but when we come back, we'll have regional and international news. Stay with us.